Here is the official new cover. It's being mass-produced right now for Jason Bermas's new film, Invisible Empire. Pre-order it at Infowars.com. Coming out April 15th. Pre-order, get it first. I'm going to go back to Webster here in just a moment and then to some of your phone calls. First, I want to thank some of the sponsors who have made today's radio transmission possible. One of them is ColaBlue.com. It's the best water filter, period. They got a bunch of different systems, very affordable. They got units that do 7 gallons a day or 500 gallons a day. The little ones look like a water cooler without a water bottle on the top. They're computerized, goes through 7 filters. They're bigger units, 12 filters. It grabs the water out of the air. The best, cleanest water you're going to find. ColaBlue.com or 800-691-6043. 800-691-6043. ColaBlue.com. Check out the website. Also, MySolarBackup.com. One word, MySolarBackup.com. There's banners for all these sponsors up on InfoWars, by the way. Have you ever lost your power and wanted to simply flip the switch to get the lights back on? If so, you should check out MySolarBackup.com. There's never been a better time to start getting off the grid and generate your own supply of electricity. It's the solar power unit, the controller, the battery system. You can get a bunch of these and run your whole house. It's great for camping, your work shed, or for emergencies in your house. It's unlike gas generators, doesn't have any fumes. MySolarBackup.com, or you can call and get a free information pack at 877-327-0365. 877-327-0365, MySolarBackup.com. Okay, moving quick now, Webster. This is not just you saying this. It's Wall Street Journal. It's Wired Magazine. We've got the bill. We've got the White House saying they want to censor the Internet, attack U.S. websites, censor people, force everybody onto a new Internet 2, where according to the new rules, it's a private corporate system that the government pays for with tax money. And they say, oh, well, you can have the old Internet that doesn't work anymore, but if you're on the new web, well, there's all these rules, and you've got to have a sub-website on a larger domain. Continuing, clearly, I've been saying I believe there's going to be a virtual flag attack. I've called it a fake false flag Internet attack. Great term you've coined, a virtual flag attack. And it looks like they're really, again, going hard and heavy with the preconditioning that they're the good guys. It's going to come. They've got to take all your rights. Everybody who has a website's got to be certified. Anybody in IT's got to be certified. It talks about youth corps in high school and college recruiting them to just have hundreds of thousands working for the feds. I mean, this is declaring war on the Internet. We've been saying that for years, but here's the BBC. U.S. plans to fight the net revealed. Webster Tarpley. Bottom line, where's this going?
Well, if you notice, the cast of characters, the cast of enemies and targets that come with this whole new thing is now different. In that CNN special, somebody at some point brings up the question, is this bin Laden, is this al-Qaeda? And they practically laugh him out of the room. They respond with brusque dismissal, even scorn, right? How could they do that? That's a bunch of guys who live in caves, right, according to the well-known myth. Well, of course, that was always the problem with the 9/11 story. But now it's different. It's China, Russia, Sudan are the three that are mentioned. City of Irkutsk in Siberia is supposedly the source of this terrible virus that shuts down the U.S. electrical system, and the virus in the cell phones comes from Khartoum in Sudan. Chinese
and so we've
allies.
got to take your web freedom to save you from shadowy Ruskies.
Right, but they're looking for conflict. In other words, it's an area of confrontation which they think they can do. In other words, with nuclear war, of course, it's unthinkable. You can get your head blown off. But I think the idea is spreading at Booz Allen Hamilton and the National Security Agency, and in this Defense Science Board and the Office of Net Assessment of Yoda in the Pentagon. This is something you can do. It's not unthinkable. It's going on all the time, and you can blame anybody you want. Right? Google blames China. Where's the proof? There is no proof. China denies it. So how do we know? So you can essentially attack yourself. You can shut down your own nuclear reactor or airport and then say, oh, that was Moscow. That was Beijing.
And again, Bush's cybersecurity bill 2 years ago that Obama's ramming through, headline, should Obama control the net? Mother Jones. It's designed for them to shut the web off, and they're saying we may have to shut the Internet down to save you right at the time when the Internet is fully unmasking the bankers.
Right, and Obama personally kicked this off last May with a speech where he said, I haven't revealed this yet, but my own websites, my campaign websites, were attacked by hackers during the election campaign, and I had to go to the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA. So in a certain sense, you can say the Obama websites, right, all of those famous websites that he has and still has, that these are essentially under the aegis of the National Security Agency and some of these consultants. So it's an absolute mess, and people need to fight back. You have to remember, the First Amendment lives through us. The First Amendment, use it or lose it. So use your rights before somebody comes and takes it away. I would say more broadly, the impetus towards police states and dictatorships comes from the economic realm. In other words, it's the economic breakdown crisis that allows governments to think that they can take people's rights away. And I think
Webster, that's my next issue. I want to get in with you before we leave. I want to have you cover that before the show's over here. But I want to go to some calls now because I always forget and never go to them. So we're going to take 5 calls quickly, and then we're going to look at the economic realm. Everything you talked about now coming true in spades. U.S.-UK move closer to losing rating, Moody's says Bloomberg. Now, what does that mean for a layperson out there? What does the death of the dollar mean? But the globalists are saying they're going to have a coordinated G20, G24, there's really 24 members at these meetings, devaluation of currencies simultaneously, or there's some debate about picking them off one at a time. So that's coming up before Webster leaves us. But now phone calls quickly before we cover the most important subject, the economy and this economic warfare, government of and for the banking cartel. Jacob in Tennessee, you're on the air with Webster Tarpley. Go ahead.
Afternoon, gentlemen. My question has to do specifically with the current status of the dollar bill. We were informed by alleged moles of the Bilderberg Group back in 2008 that they were not going to drop the dollar until the GDP and the economy rose to the same levels of a decade prior. We know now that we're well above that. We're well 2% over where we were a decade ago. Excuse me. Now, do you believe that they're just tooting their own horn, or are they waiting for more people to try and invest and waste their money?
Okay, so this question goes to the bigger issue. Webster, bottom line, what is their plan? We see about a new global constitution of the banks. They're going to save us from the crisis they've created now. MSNBC saying double dip recession, double dip housing market, that the banks need more money, more power to save us.
What's actually going on is this attack on the euro. In other words, people, they don't seem to be giving up on the dollar in the sense that this Bilderberg plan, whatever this was, might suggest. What you see is Soros, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, the market, in other words, the main finance oligarchs of Wall Street, attacking the euro by means of Greece, the Greek government bonds, by means of Spain, Portugal, Ireland, ultimately Italy, and this is an attack really on Germany, which is the heart of the European Union. So the reason they're doing that, of course, is they've got a situation where they can make it look like the euro is collapsing faster than the dollar in this general context of a world economic depression of unimaginable proportions and a bottomless crisis. So they don't seem to give up. And in the meantime, they're making money by speculating against the euro, and they're attempting, again, to prop up the dollar and prop up the pound, because the pound is also the sickest currency in Europe. Now, there is a backlash against some of this stuff, and you have people inside the European Union who are saying ban hedge funds, and also, and a very interesting move, ban credit default swaps, ban the most toxic kind of derivative, the kind of thing that cost the American taxpayer $200 billion with AIG, and ultimately is the root of the entire crisis, is derivatives, and specifically the most explosive kind, credit default swaps. So there are some people who are trying to go from economic self-defense, and that will take a protectionist or mercantilist form compared to the free trade which has been practiced so far. The fact is we're in a depression. It's getting worse. The second round of the depression, the second wave of the depression, I think is likely to arrive this year, and that's going to have to do with these sovereign bankruptcies, right? That certain countries can be driven into bankruptcy. But remember, who's doing this? Soros, hedge funds, and banks. In other words, it's a situation where the financial community has declared war on the nation state, and I think the nation state is a better deal than the hedge funds and the bankers. So I would say it's better for the nation state to put J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs into bankruptcy than to let them bankrupt the U.S. government, because that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely. Let's take another call here. Let's talk to Rocco in North Carolina. You're on the air.